This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Friday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey. Here's what's making headlines on this July 10th.
I think we were long overdue for a change. I think society had been heading in the wrong direction for years and years.
A woman arrested for driving into protesters Monday night in Bloomington. This morning, how the community is reacting to that arrest. Plus,
we're moving forward full steam ahead. We're looking forward to opening towards the end of this year.
Construction continues on a major development near downtown. How the project is already planning on keeping guests safe once the doors are open. And big changes are on the horizon for Purdue and IU athletics. This morning, the reason behind a major change in Big Ten schedules this season. But first, we do need to get a check of your Storm Team 6 forecast on this Friday. Todd Clausen is standing by from home with radar. And Todd, what can we expect today?
You know, there's some scattered storms out there this morning already, Lauren, and this is part of a change that's finally going to start to occur in our weather pattern as we're going to start to bring in less humid air and cooler air in time for the weekend. So kind of think of today as that transition day to get there. You'll have to be patient for the humidity to drop. That's going to be a slow process, but eventually I do think we will get there. As far as the rain this morning, some heavy rain and some lightning moving through Lebanon right now, getting ready to push into Danville as well. You see the lightning strikes there. And this may clip the northern portion of Indianapolis and into parts of Marion County. To the north, some heavy rain just north of Frankfort into the south of Delphi. You know, those lightning strikes there. And all this is moving off towards the northeast. South of I-70, you're dry here this morning, and I'm expecting it to stay that way. But we will build in some additional storms off and on throughout the day as this front goes through. And then by 4 o'clock, they're starting to fade away. So your Friday evening should be just fine. Notice the temperatures. No 90s, Lauren. Today we're in the mid to upper 80s, so it's cooler as well. We'll talk more about the weekend for you coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We are keeping a close eye on traffic this Friday morning as you're heading out on the roads. Here's a look on the northwest side, I-465 near West 86th Street, where traffic is still pretty quiet this morning. No crashes, no delays to report around the metro area. Great news for your Friday morning commute. We are learning some breaking news and following this from the downtown area this morning. Metro Police at the scene of a shooting at Meridian and South Streets. Police were called to the area on a confirmed person shot about an hour ago. As soon as we learn more details, we'll be sure to bring you the very latest right here on Good Morning Indiana. New from overnight, a man is in the hospital following a shooting on the city's west side. This happened around 1 o'clock this morning at the Woodhaven Apartments on Mission Drive. That's near 38th Street and High School Road. The victim told police that someone knocked on his door, and when he answered, he was shot. At last check, he's listed in serious condition. This morning, police say they don't have any suspect information yet. Police have arrested a woman, though, with preliminary charges after she drove into a crowd of protesters down in Bloomington Monday night. Our own Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning on more details. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. The 66-year-old woman is accused of hitting two protesters and dragging them 2 blocks in downtown Bloomington, Indiana on Monday evening. This was during a protest that was happening right around the Monroe County Courthouse. Christie Bennett was arrested Wednesday night. She faces charges of criminal recklessness and leaving the scene of an accident resulting in serious bodily injury. The incident happened as crowds were dispersing Monday evening following that peaceful demonstration over an alleged racial attack at Lake Monroe. Bennett is accused of hitting 2 protesters, one of whom was knocked unconscious and taken to the hospital. Bloomington city officials say they're glad there's some progress towards justice.
I'm relieved that they caught the perpetrator and that they've arrested her. This is an opportunity to talk about it and to really start taking steps to address a larger problem and a larger pattern of issues that are going on in the community.
And the incident at Lake Monroe, which sparked the protest this week, is still under investigation. There still has not been an arrest in that case. We are expecting an update in the coming days. And tonight there are more demonstrations planned in downtown Bloomington. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. The time right now is 5:04 this morning. There are still no arrests in the alleged attack prompting those protests down in Bloomington. Box Booker tells police he was almost lynched at Lake Monroe over the weekend. One video shows Booker being held against a tree with men threatening to get a noose. The video shows the men shouting racial slurs at Booker as well. It will be up to the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office to determine if charges will be filed. The FBI has confirmed it is investigating the attack as a possible hate crime. On Thursday, the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus issued 3 demands in connection with that investigation. The state lawmakers are calling on the Department of Natural Resources to provide information to law enforcement for a hate crime investigation. The DNI officers involved in this case to be suspended immediately, and the caucus is also asking the Monroe County Prosecutor to bring those involved to swift justice. At 5:05 this morning, sheriff's officials in southeastern Indiana say they've made an arrest in a 1986 murder. Fayette County Sheriff's Office says that Sean McClung admits to killing Denise Flume more than 35 years ago. Flume was a high school senior when she disappeared. McClung pleaded not guilty during a court appearance on Thursday. Flume's family thanked investigators after that arrest. The time now is 5:06. Want to turn to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic and the impact it's having here in Indiana. At this hour, the State Department of Health is confirming 521 new COVID-19 cases. So far, nearly 50,000 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. The state also reports 7 new deaths from COVID-19. That means more than 2,500 people in Indiana have died from the coronavirus. Let's dig a little bit deeper now and take a look at the impact on the state's hospitals. Health officials say 37% of ICU beds are still available. This morning, the coronavirus patients are using about 10% of the beds in the ICU, and almost 84% of the state's ventilators are still available. This morning, free coronavirus testing is still available across our state, so if you live or work in the Hoosier State, you are eligible for that testing. You do not have to have symptoms or be in a high-risk group. So to register, just go to lhi.care/COVID testing, or you can call 888-634-1116. This morning, construction on the former Coca-Cola bottling facility is hard to miss. The massive building is being restored and renovated into the Bottle Works Hotel. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, the general manager says they are going to be open by the end of the year with a plan already in place to keep guests as safe and as healthy as possible.
Taking steps to make sure that we are able to do mobile check-in. We are utilizing a service called Alice. The guests can text the front desk if they need something, and then they can put it outside the door, and it's a no-contact solution.
Along with the hotel opening, a food hall, theater, retail, and office spaces are also planned. The hotel is just the first phase of this $300 million Bottle Works District project. Well, the first Ivy League schools announced that they are postponing sports until the 2021 spring semester, and now Big Ten teams will only play conference games. The conference announced the decision as COVID-19 cases across the country are rising. Conference leadership say that the move gives flexibility for rescheduling and canceling games during the season. Summer athletic activities will continue to be voluntary, and student athletes who decide not to participate will not lose their scholarships. This morning, you can read statements from IU and Purdue by downloading the RTV6 app. This morning, a huge decrease in the number of people filing first-time unemployment claims here in Indiana. The Department of Labor shows the most recent week ending on Saturday, a little more than 24,000 Hoosiers filing first-time unemployment claims. That number's down from more than 44,000 claims the week before that. In the 16 weeks since layoffs began, about 871,000 people in Indiana have filed for unemployment. For perspective, in all of 2019, just shy of 191,000 people filed for unemployment. Here at 509, the future of a $600 million project out in Hancock County could be decided next month. Walmart plans to build more than 2 million square foot facility, and that'll be at County Roads 500 North and 500 West outside of McCordsville. A final vote will follow a public hearing that's set for August. If approved, the executive director of the Hancock County Economic Development Council tells RTV6 he expects 1,000 people to work at that distribution center when it initially opens. If all goes as planned, the facility will break ground in the fall. At 5:09, we want to check in with Todd Clausen and see what we can expect for our Friday forecast. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, finally a decrease in humidity heading our way. It's been a rough week with all the heat and humidity. In fact, every day this week has been in the 90s. Today we probably don't get there, and that's due to a little more in the way of cloud cover and a cold front making its way through the area. So over the course of the next couple hours, you'll see your temperatures, instead of coming up dramatically throughout the morning hours, they'll only kind of slowly rise at more of a steady pace or a normal pace, but we will have plenty of sunshine here to start the day. That's despite a few isolated storms that are out there right now that you can see making their way through parts of the area. It's a thin band of rain moving through Lebanon right now with a little bit of lightning, nothing severe here, and then some heavier downpours just north of Frankfurt as well, and that's probably going to clip the western portion of Kokomo and then up towards the Peru area. But other than that, we don't have any rain out there. In southern locations, we'll have the chance for a few scattered storms off and on throughout the day, but don't think of today as a wet day. Just think of it more as a transition day. There'll be some storms around, but temperatures will be cooler. Highs today in the 80s, and you'll also notice that humidity decreasing throughout the day. More in the weekend forecast in just a few minutes. Lauren.
Todd, thank you. Millions of Americans have spent much of the past few months at home due to the coronavirus pandemic. Ahead this morning, steps are being taken to keep people safe while they're out and about. And the Supreme Court makes a ruling surrounding President Trump's tax returns this morning, why the rulings were a win and a loss for the president. It is 5:11. We'll be right back.
Tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Welcome back. The U.S. recorded more than 60,000 new COVID-19 cases on Thursday, and that set another record. John Lawrence reports that has some organizations and companies reconsidering large events.
Some Walt Disney World theme parks in Orlando getting ready for a phased reopening for the general public this weekend. And it will be a smaller world after all, with attendance limits. Temperature screenings, masks, and social distancing will also be enforced for guests at the Mouse House. As COVID-19 cases rise on a daily basis, there are concerns about protecting people when they're outdoors. Some college sports programs are making changes. Big Ten teams will only play conference games this season.
There's a chance we might not have football guys. So we've shifted to how can we get our kids on the field.
Drive-in theaters like this one in Chicago allow people to beat cabin fever safely.
It's a lot, but hey, we're working through it. So it's great to see events like this to take us away from responsibilities.
And GOP officials are still considering how next month's Republican National Convention will be handled.
We'll have to wait and see how things look in late August to determine whether or not you can safely convene that many people.
Health experts keep stressing the importance of being cautious while out and about.
If we social distance and wear face coverings, we can really interfere with the human-to-human transmission of this virus.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
It is 5:15 this morning. The CDC says it will not revise guidelines regarding how schools should reopen. However, the center says it will release additional guidance, according to the agency's director. This comes after President Trump says that the guidelines are difficult to enforce and also expensive. Dr. Robert Redfield says the additional reference documents will particularly help caregivers and schools know how to reopen safely. Nearly half the families in the U.S. have seen a cut in their income since the coronavirus began. According to Bankrate, 49% of households have either been impacted by layoffs, furloughs, or a reduction in hours. Nearly the same amount of people are optimistic and believe their income will return to normal within 6 months. 4% believe their income will never recover. A win and loss for President Trump on Thursday regarding his tax and financial records. The Supreme Court ruled the president is not exempt from being subpoenaed, saying the public has the right to every citizen's evidence. But Congress, as well as a New York prosecutor, are not getting the president's records just yet. The case now heads back to the lower courts, where the president's attorneys can still challenge the request. This all pertains to a criminal investigation into alleged hush money payments to women who claim they had affairs with the president before his time in office. Right now it is 5:17. It's Friday, and so Todd, can we expect a little bit of a cool down today?
You know, you'll notice the temperatures won't be as warm. So yes, Lauren, and also the humidity, while it's still pretty high this morning, it'll slowly start to get better as the day goes on. And that's going to set us up for what should be a decent weekend across the area. Now, to get there, we have to get through the cold front. And as this cold front comes through, there will be the opportunity for some showers and storms. And we're already seeing some in parts of central Indiana. And pretty little good cluster of lightning there just south of Deer Creek and just to the west of Kokomo. And this cell is making its way off towards the northeast. So it's probably going to miss downtown Kokomo, but it's probably going to make its way into the Peru area as we get a little closer to the 6 o'clock hour. We'll slide down to the south. We have a pretty good cell making its way through Lebanon with some lightning and heavy rainfall. None of this is severe. That is the good news. And a few lightning strikes down towards Danville. This also moving off towards the north and to the northeast. So this is going to miss downtown Indianapolis, but it's going to make its way up towards the Cicero area, even into portions of Tipton and Sheridan as we get into the next 30 minutes or so. South of I-70, there's not really a whole lot going on. Skies are mainly clear. You'll wake to plenty of sunshine, and most of us do wake to sunshine. It's just a couple storms that are out there right now. Going forward throughout the day, this is a cold front that is working its way through the area, and just based upon the timing, it's not going to bring us a ton of rainfall. The further north you are, the better chance you'll have of seeing some showers and storms. But I think the strongest of the storms, or the more widespread storms, are going to start to occur around the noon hour, but primarily on the eastern side of the state. And this all just has to do with the timing of the front, where it is during the peak heating of the day, and then the storms really start to get going across parts of Ohio. So as we work our way throughout the day, don't think of today as a rainy day, even though there's storms in the forecast. There's a lot of dry hours that'll be mixed in. Temperatures right now are in the 70s throughout the day today. Temperatures will moderate at a much slower pace than they have the past couple days. Past couple days, we've already been in the mid 80s to even upper 80s by the noon hour. Today, we're still in the 70s, eventually about 84 to 85 degrees for your high temperature. And again, it becomes more comfortable as the day goes on, as the humidity drops. For the weekend, Saturday, 88 degrees, so it's still warm, but much more comfortable with lower humidity. On Sunday, there'll be the chance of some scattered storms around, and it could be in the morning hours on Sunday. And most of the day will be dry at 85 degrees. Monday is absolutely terrific at 82 with low humidity. And you need to take advantage of the next couple days with the cooler temperatures and the lower humidity, because the humidity comes back in a big time way, and so does the heat by the middle of next week. 90 on Tuesday, 95 on Thursday. Some areas on Friday of next week, maybe Lauren could be pushing 97 to 98 degrees for actual high temperatures.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the South Split, where everything is traveling up to speed. We have a long-term construction project happening. You can see some flashing lights on the right far corner of your screen. This is on westbound I-70. We have lanes closed between the South Split and over to the west side. That project set to wrap up July 28th. A new study suggests that broken heart syndrome is increasing during the global coronavirus pandemic. That's the common name for stress-induced cardiomyopathy. It happens when heart muscles weaken, leading to chest pain and shortness of breath. The study involved 1,900 patients. None of them had COVID-19. They were compared to patients with similar issues over the past 2 years. So it turns out during the pandemic, patients were 2 times more likely to experience broken heart syndrome. Researchers are finding an infectable medication that may be more effective at preventing HIV. The new research was done by the HIV Prevention Trials Network. The injectable medication would be given as a shot, and it would last 8 weeks. The shot is considered a way more effective way to treat this than the daily HIV prevention pill known as Truvada. The shot still needs to be approved by the FDA. So what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Chocolate, vanilla, maybe Rocky Road? After the break, you can find out why these unique flavors, and there's some somewhat questionable flavors as well. That story's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Get out and play. Welcome back. Beloved Jeopardy game show host Alex Trebek's favorite animal is a musk ox. So now he does have one named after him. This is Trebek. He is a 4-week-old musk ox calf at Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium in Tacoma, Washington. The 79-year-old Jeopardy host says he likes the musk oxen because they are family-oriented. Trebek also says that he likes the way their furry coats wave in the breeze when they're running, and you can find the musk ox in the northern Canada country where Alex Trebek was born. At just over a month old, Trebek the ox is already bigger than a Labrador Retriever. Pretty cute. So chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and ketchup. Your Neapolitan treat could get a new twist if you're brave enough. Heinz Lunch do-it-yourself ice cream kits in Britain this month. The condiment-flavored cold treats coincide with National Ice Cream Month in the UK. So for about $17, the kit provides everything you need to whip up the frozen dessert, sauce, recipe card, and a scooper. As for the flavor options, ketchup, mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, and salad cream. I don't know about that, Todd. $17 also sounds a little steep. For ice cream.
You know, I like ketchup. I put ketchup on a lot of things, but yeah. I don't know if I want it in ice cream. I have a lot of other flavors I think I would prefer over the ketchup ice cream or the mayonnaise ice cream. So, but to each their own, right? Outside right now, we're dealing with some isolated storms making their way through parts of central Indiana, mainly in northern locations. This broken line of storms, which is non-severe, is making its way through. And we'll deal with storms off and on throughout the day today as this cold front goes through, but not a lot of rainfall is heading our way. We actually could use a pretty good soaking. Notice the temperatures to the west a little bit warmer today. That's because the front gets through your area quicker. You see more in the way of sunshine, better chances of rain to the east today as the front gets through your area. That's why it's a little bit cooler, 82 degrees in Muncie as well as Richmond. More on your extended forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:27.
Williams Show, today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30, we are following breaking news after a shooting downtown. We're live at the scene with the latest on the investigation.
We'll get to that in a moment. Plus, a coach at Lutheran High School in Indianapolis says she was fired because she's gay. This morning, what she's saying and how the school is responding. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Friday, July the 10th. And Lauren, when I woke up this morning, I had to do a double take when I saw Todd's forecast, thinking, what? No 90s?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, we've had a number of days in the 90s this past week, so I think we're all looking forward to a little cool down. It's not too much, Todd, but what can we expect today?
Yeah, you know, today's that transition day, and you're exactly right. No 90s. What's going on here, Raphael? Every day this week we've been in the 90s. We will not get there today in most locations, and that's because we have a weak little cool front coming through. I don't want to call it a cold front because that kind of makes you think the temperatures are going to dramatically drop, and that's not going to be the case. But we do get into the 80s the next few days, and as this cold front comes through, there's going to be some showers and storms, and you're already seeing some of those across parts of the area. Notice as you work your way here into the Danville and the Brownsburg area, we're dealing with some pretty good rain right along US 36, and then as we go just north of Brownsburg up into just north of Pittsburgh, some heavy rainfall. It extends up into Lebanon as well as Whitestown. You're going to be up next for that batch of rain. That is non-severe, and then as we continue further to the north, Kokomo getting ready to see some heavy rainfall head your way, as will Tipton. So it's a thin band of heavy rainfall, and that's the only line of showers and storms in town. To the south, it is mainly dry, and as this front comes through, it's coming through fairly slow, so we'll have to keep showers and storms in the forecast off and on throughout the course of the day, but they're going to be rather spotty, so that is the good news. Don't let the storms threat of storms cancel your plans, because most of you probably remain dry. Notice the temperatures we hold pretty steady this morning in the 70s, and then eventually highs later on this afternoon as the humidity drops, Lauren, in the mid-80s.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at your commute this Friday morning. Here's a live picture over on the east side. I-465, a look near Brookville Road where traffic is moving along up to speed, both northbound and southbound. No crashes, no delays on the east side to slow down your commute. Raphael?
Lauren, we want to get right to the breaking news. Metro Police investigating a shooting in the downtown area. This at Meridian and South Street. Alyssa Donovan is on the scene right now. Alyssa, what are police telling you as this is now a developing story?
That's right, Raphael, and we're working to get more information, but as you said, we're on South Street, right between Pennsylvania and Meridian. That area is blocked off, and you can see behind me that this investigation is still underway this morning. The call came in right around 1 a.m. this morning, and when police arrived on the scene, they said they found one victim, a male in his 20s, responsive enough to tell them what he says happened, which is a person came to his door, and then when he opened the door, that's when he was shot. That victim has been taken to the hospital Methodist, and he is in serious condition. That's what we've been told at the moment, but you can see this whole area is blocked off this morning, and this shooting happening as we're heading into another weekend. The past several weekends have been violent in the Circle City. Just last weekend, we had 12 people shot. The weekend before, another dozen, more than a dozen people shot, and we are up in terms of homicides from this time last year to this time this year. So we have seen an uptick in this violence here. And as I said, this is under investigation. This area is blocked off from Meridian to Pennsylvania. This is South Street. So if you are heading out this morning at this early hour, you want to avoid this area because they are still investigating this shooting. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. It is 5:34. Police say multiple people are dead after a crash on I-70 yesterday evening. That crash happened in the eastbound lanes near the Cambridge City exit in Wayne County. According to state police, a truck failed to slow down near traffic in a construction zone, and it crashed into the back of a car. That car was then pushed into the back of another semi, and it caught fire. A passerby was able to pull the driver out, but none of the passengers. Police say there were multiple deaths of people in that car, but they did not say how many. The driver of the semi escaped the burning truck and was able to be taken to the hospital. The driver of the second semi was not hurt. Police say drugs were a factor in the crash and criminal charges are forthcoming. And the search continues for a missing man at Eagle Creek Reservoir. The Department of Natural Resources say that he and a woman were in a paddle boat when a gust of wind knocked them overboard on Wednesday. The woman was brought back to shore and appeared to be okay, but the man was not found. Emergency crews are expected to resume that search this morning.
Now to the COVID-19 outbreak in our state and the impact on our state, as well as the latest look at the numbers. And here they are this morning. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 521 new cases and 7 new deaths. 49,575 total cases have now been confirmed. 2,546 Hoosiers have died from the virus. More than 542,000 people have been tested, and so far, with about 9% of those coming back positive. The time now is 5:36. And Lauren, this morning, as the coronavirus cases are rising in 36 states, the nation's top infectious disease expert says that states reopened too early and now that they should shut down.
And the world's biggest hotspot is here in the U.S. It's Arizona, where 1 out of every 3 people is testing positive. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more now from New York.
It's a staggering scene. Cars for miles with people in line waiting to get a coronavirus test in Phoenix. Arizona reporting record highs for hospitalizations. The governor now putting restrictions on indoor dining to 50% capacity, but declined to shut restaurants down completely.
You're safer at home. If you're not at home, you're safer outside.
Dr. Anthony Fauci saying states with severe outbreaks may have reopened too quickly. This graph by the New York Times showing a nearly 1,400% increase in average daily COVID cases in Florida compared to when the state reopened about 2 months ago. Dr. Fauci telling 538's Podcast 19 those states should look at shutting down.
Despite the guidelines and the recommendations to open up carefully and prudently, some states skipped over those and just opened up too quickly.
In Florida, more than a quarter of everyone tested in Miami-Dade testing positive. ICU beds are scarce and doctors say patients are dying alone. 10 states setting records for hospitalizations. And doctors across the country saying testing is stretched thin. There are backlogs and long wait times to get results, some taking up to 2 weeks. Late Thursday, President Trump spoke by phone to Fox News, claiming both that testing is successful and Democrats are benefiting from that.
We are testing and creating. It's the greatest thing that ever happened for the opposite party, and we're doing a great job.
Dr. Fauci saying politics is partly to blame for the outbreaks.
That if there wasn't such divisiveness, that we would have a more coordinated approach.
This morning, the CDC director advising that certain businesses should shut down to help stop the spread of the virus. And he mentioned bars in particular. He said right now, people should just not go. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Back here at home, the Children's Museum of Indianapolis will be open to everyone again starting tomorrow. Right now, it's only open to donors and members. Precautions to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 will also be in place. Capacity is limited to 3,000 people, and guests are asked to reserve tickets in advance. Everyone older than age 2 will be required to wear a mask. For more information, you can just go to our website, theindychannel.com.
And tonight, a series of live drive-in concerts will kick off in Noblesville. Ruoff Music Center is hosting the shows. It starts tonight with a yacht rock review. Country singer John Party performs tomorrow, and country superstar Brad Paisley headlines on Sunday. The artist will perform on a stage in the parking lot. Fans will watch from their cars or parking spots, which are widened to accommodate tailgating.
We've taken advantage of what we have. We've gotten creative, and it's the safe situation that really you're protected, you're in a buffer zone, and you know, you're gonna have a good time.
The tickets are still available for all 3 concerts. For more information, search for this story on our website, theindychannel.com. And now I know what Todd Clawson will be doing this weekend because he is a big country music fan. And Todd, hopefully the weather will cooperate, right, as people get to enjoy these live drive-in concerts.
Yeah, I think the weather will cooperate for all those shows, whether you're going today, tomorrow, or Sunday. But Raphael, I don't have my tickets as of yet. I was waiting for you to surprise me with one for one of those shows. And so Yacht Rock Review was always a good time. I saw them a couple times here across central India, including Conner Prairie last year. All right, outside right now, we are dealing with a few isolated storms making their way through central Indiana. Nothing severe here, but some of you, especially north of Indianapolis, may be hearing some thunder and getting hit with some pretty heavy rainfall for a brief period as this little line of storms makes its way through. And we'll have the opportunity for some scattered storms off and on throughout the course of the day today, but overall it's still a decent day that's going to feature quite a bit of sunshine. Temperatures not quite as warm, but still great for the pool as we climb up into the mid-80s. Make sure you have the sunscreen on, though the UV index is very high. We'll talk about the weekend forecast, which I think you're going to like. You'll need to take advantage, and then also some big-time heat that'll be heading our way next week as a return to the 90s is in our future. More on that in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you. The lawyers of Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Elaine Maxwell, have issued their first response to her charges. Why they say the indictments are, quote, meritless, and the new details about her stay in jail.
And the Pacers and the rest of the NBA making their way to Florida. Find out what's in store for the team as they get ready to restart their season. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us. The time now is 5:41.
Naturally, only from Nature's Bounty.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Lawyers for Elaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend of convicted sex offender Jerry Epstein, are calling her federal charges, in their words, meritless. Maxwell is facing charges for perjury and sex crimes against minors in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking case. This is the first filing from her lawyer since the arrest last week. It also issues Maxwell's denial for all the allegations and contends that the case should be dismissed, as she is currently being held in a federal jail in Brooklyn because prosecutors argue that she is a flight risk. Now, law enforcement sources say that Maxwell was also given paper clothing over fear that she might try to take her own life. Her bail hearing is set for Tuesday of next week. Lauren?
Rafael, new information this morning on the disappearance of Glee actress Naya Rivera. She's been presumed dead as officials believe she drowned in Lake Piru in California. The 33-year-old vanished Wednesday after she and her 4-year-old son rented a pontoon boat. New video shows the two boarding the boat about 3 hours before the boy was found asleep and alone on board. Authorities say recovery efforts are still underway. And while college students are concerned what their classes may look like this fall, a lot of parents are worried how they'll balance the costs in this recession. USA Today took a poll on Twitter to see which financial areas parents are most concerned about. Of the more than 19,000 that participated, most say that they're worried about balancing college costs with day-to-day expenses. It was followed by retirement savings and other debt payments, and then the ability to invest. 60% of parents say that the pandemic has resulted in family budget changes.
Lauren, this morning, the National Weather Service says that a deadly tornado in Minnesota may have been stronger than an EF3. It hit Otter Tail County Wednesday evening, killing 1 man and injuring 2 others. A second tornado also hit the area, damaging homes and knocking down trees. A reminder that severe weather of this kind can really hit any time of the year. Of course, this type of period is an active one. And Todd, you are following some minor storm cells here in central Indiana this morning.
Yeah, you know, nothing severe out there, but some of you have seen some lightning or heard some thunder or the rain pelting your house in some locations, as we have this very, very thin little band of rain that's making its way through the central portion of the state now, just north of Indianapolis. And you can see that on Storm Team 6 radar here. We'll give you a little better of a look, and some heavy rainfall just to the southwest of Kokomo near Forest, Indiana, and just north of Kempton. A little bit of a lightning strike there, but you see just how wide this band of rain is. It's not very wide. In fact, let me put the storm track on for you. It's only about 8 miles wide, so it's a thin band of rain that's moving through, but in some areas it's packing a little bit of a punch, a real strong little downpour just south of Lebanon here. And then as we continue further down to the south, you'll notice as we work our way into Brownsburg, some light rain, and this is all moving off towards the east and northeast. To the south of I-70 this morning, skies are completely clear, and the stronger storms and the heavier rain is off into our north in Michigan across the area. Now, we really do need some rainfall. I know some of you have seen a lot of rain this week. At my house, I've hardly had any rainfall. All those storms seem to miss me in the Indianapolis area. I know Lauren down in Johnson County has gotten some very heavy rainfall. There's been heavy rain to the north up in Hamilton County, so it really just depends where you are. But the drought monitor still has most of central Indiana in the abnormally dry category. This comes out every Thursday, so that's the updated map. Not much has changed from last week, so we really do need some additional rainfall. And while there are some storms in the forecast going forward, we don't really have any substantial rain heading our way. As for the rain today, the cold front is going to be working its way through the state. And just based upon the timing of this front, once we get to the noon hour, the front's going to mainly be here in eastern Indiana. And that's why you see the storms firing up. So as we get into the peak heating of the day, this cold front is going to be moving off into Ohio. So let me drop off the front and the arrows for you and watch how those storms kind of expand in coverage across Ohio during the afternoon hours. We'll still see some spotty ones here across central Indiana throughout the day, but don't think of today as a washout. There is a lot of dry hours mixed in throughout the day. Now, as you look from downtown to the north towards those storms that are currently out there, you notice the cloud cover as the sun's starting to come up. Temperatures are sitting in the 70s right now. Throughout the day today, we will see our temperatures climb up into the low 80s and even the mid 80s in some areas, but it's a nice reprieve from the 90-degree temperatures, and most of the afternoon hours will be dry with humidity that will be decreasing. So I know it's muggy right now, and I've been telling you to get your workout in during the morning hours while it's cooler. I actually think today it'll be more comfortable even with the sun up later on this afternoon as that humidity comes down. Tomorrow's a great day, 88 with lower humidity, a very nice summer day. 82 on Sunday with some storms in the forecast. Monday is terrific, and then the heat builds back in. 95 by Thursday, and we would expand this 7-day out to next Friday, even next Saturday. High temperatures could be in that 95 to maybe 100-degree range for actual high temperatures. Heat index value is likely going to be over 100, so take advantage of the cooler temperatures as we go into the coming days.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads to start your Friday. Here's a look up on the north side where traffic is picking up this morning. A view of I-465 near Ditch Road. No crashes to report around the metro area this early hour, so it should be smooth sailing for your morning commute. Raphael?
So, Lauren, the NBA restart tips off in 3 weeks. Players, coaches, league personnel are in the so-called bubble, right? In Disney World in Orlando, Florida. 22 teams are participating, including the Indiana Pacers. Our Brad Round shows us how the Pacers are preparing to get back in the game.
An extended stay at Walt Disney World's Grand Floridian Resort would generally be a fantastic summer getaway. But it'll simply be a long business trip for the Pacers, perhaps a very long one.
It hasn't really even hit me yet personally that, we're going to be in a bubble for 2.5, 3 months. I think it's not going to hit anybody until we're actually there and living it and got a couple of weeks under our belt. But yeah, I think this is a time that people have already slotted certain teams to win this thing, and it's not going to be that easy.
The team will spend the next 3 weeks practicing inside the NBA's Disney World bubble. 8 games to finish the regular season follow that, and then the playoffs begin in mid-August.
Our focus will be to approach those games, certainly to get our guys back into a rhythm and build them, get them ready for the playoffs. But our approach is going to be to try and win games. That's what we play for.
The biggest storyline comes with Victor Oladipo opting out of the summer session. But remember, the Pacers played the first 3 months of this original season without their all-star guard.
The chemistry's been great all year. It started getting better towards the end, I feel like, and it's only going to get better now when we play. After having a couple months off, I know the whole team has been watching film, so we kind of process things a lot easier, once you're playing.
Good thing is, obviously, we've had almost that full year together, so hopefully we can get back right to it. But we all know how it is when you come back to playing. You don't know where everyone's going to be. Some people might be clicking and rolling from the jump. Some people might not be. But I think that's the challenge.
A ton of unknowns heading into this, the largest being if the whole thing even gets started. But the Pacers are hoping to maximize their time spent in Florida.
None of us know what to expect, going down there. I think we're going to be adapting and adjusting to a lot of things once we get to Orlando.
A lot of teams probably don't want to be there. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are hopping on the plane kind of second guessing if we should go. But I think we have a lot of good guys in our locker room that are motivated to win.
The Pacers will have 3 scrimmages in Orlando starting on the 23rd. That is ahead of the NBA seeding games beginning on July 30th. And then the Pacers' first official game is set for August 1st. They'll play basically every other day for those 8 regular season games, and then the playoffs begin on August 16th. The team will have its first practice in the Coronado Springs Ballroom coming up on Friday.
All right, Brad, thank you. Residents in a neighborhood in Chicago got a very close look at a hot air balloon this week after it had to make this emergency landing. Coming up, the pilot's tricky landing, all caught on camera. We'll be right back.
Any title fight during UFC 251.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. A hot air balloon pilot being called a hero after making a tricky emergency landing in a neighborhood outside of Chicago. Here are the images. The relaxing ride turned tense when an elderly passenger passed out. Now, to get help, the pilot had to land the balloon safely in the neighborhood, dodging homes and trees, as you can see. The passenger regained consciousness as they landed and was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A pro under pressure. And of course, luckily, Todd, the weather also cooperated, because anyone who's been in a hot air balloon knows that the weather plays a big role on where those balloons can land and how they land.
Yeah, you know, Lauren and I were talking earlier, Raphael, I've been in a hot air balloon, and you just go where the winds blow you. So you can't really control which direction you're going in. You can control up and down pretty well, but a great job for that pilot, one, to identify that there's no power lines there in the neighborhood, and then two, to safely get that passenger down on the ground. So absolutely terrific work there. Live look outside right now. We are dealing with the storms north of Indianapolis, and you can kind of see that on our tower camera as you look to the north. South of Indianapolis, though, it'll be a sunny start to the day. Temperatures this morning are in the 70s. We're going to stay in the 70s. We're not going to see that big jump here this morning like we have the past few mornings due to the lack of sunshine, but highs eventually climb into the mid-80s across the area, so that's a change as well. It's cooler. Humidity drops throughout the day. It sets us up for a pretty nice weekend. We'll talk about not only your Saturday and Sunday, but your forecast beyond that coming up when we return here on Good Morning Indiana to start the 6 o'clock hour.